Hey everybody, welcome to Lesser Saints of Discord, your one and only pre-show to the YouTube Saints. And we will remain to be the one and only pre-show to the YouTube Saints. Fuck you, Fat Pat. So fan, you're alright. You follow me on Twitter. Fat Pat doesn't though. So fuck you, Fat Pat. Waffle had to work late today, so we're just doing a Google Hangouts. I've got Sire DeClusi, Shit Cover Truth, and Leslie Maxwell with me. And we will possibly be getting more people in. Oh, yeah, Swiggins just joined.
Hell yeah.
Hey, it's great. Yeah.
Hey.
So we're just going to be shooting the shit and talking about whatever the fuck we want to talk about. Possibly metaphysics, because we don't talk about that with Waffle. That's kind of a rule. Yeah, so how's everybody doing tonight?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Oh,
just
also the Google Hangout link is in voice text 1 on the YouTube Saints Discord channel. So feel free to join in if you want. Sorry, Squigs, we're just live right now. So
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah, did you guys hear that yodeling boy went to Coachella?
Yeah, I saw that. Why?
Because shit. Because that's why.
I mean, did he go there just as like a guest? Was he performing? I didn't really hear about it.
Performed.
He performed.
Huh.
Because yeah.
So does that
Which
mean
shit, right?
there might be resurgence of yodeling in popular culture?
Well, it's not true yodeling. It was voice cracks. I mean,
Nah, give him some time.
It's a me.
It's
Yeah,
a queer.
it's a damn queer.
Goddamn queer. How dare you?
Shit. I fucked up with the settings. For some reason, we don't have a live chat. So let's do that right now.
What the shit?
It's a spicy.
Live chat. There we go. Now we got a chat.
Let's see. Blizzard.
Hey.
Hey, so queer, what do you think about yodeling boy performing at Coachella?
What?
The fuck is a Coachella? There we go.
It's a music festival.
Oh wait, no, now I remember.
Yeah, he was memed in the Coachella.
I'm gonna have to check this out after this show because I'm halfway.
He does the exact same song. It's not even that fun.
Oh, okay,
It's
then
not
yeah,
even
never
mixing it
mind.
up. Yeah, he does. They just back him up with a nice beat. That's about
boring. They could at least give him like a small little set, 2 songs, 3 songs, something like that. God.
it. I don't know.
How else is he ever going to get his performer's legs?
So, what else is going on, everybody? What did you guys think about that whole Bully Hunter promotion that was going on?
Yeah. I just finished a Repsion video on that before we even got in here.
Yeah, watch that.
Oh, Repsion video?
earlier.
Yeah.
Nice.
And honestly, it wasn't that bad. A good return to form for Repsion, but I am severely disappointed that they tried to pull this scam. I mean, program of Bully Hunter.
I do like the logo. I want one of those pins.
Yeah, those are actually pretty nice.
Isn't it an advert though? Like, despite
I
the
might
fact
buy one
that
of the
it's-
headsets.
Yeah, it's a bloody, and that's what baffled me. It's like, wait a minute, this is an advert, so you don't give a shit about what people say on the internet. You just want to sell headsets.
Well,
Yeah, well, the headset comes with some sort of field guide. I don't know what's going on with that. But
the field guide is basically how to get in contact with a quote unquote bully hunter thing, so that they can then join your game and basically attack and kill said offender.
So they can just join your game and play the game.
They can basically come into your game and bully people.
Yeah, so basically they join a game where the game is to kill other people, and they're going to join it to try and kill other people.
I think that the best part about that entire thing, however, is that the website was down as of this afternoon when I went to check it to see if it was still up. Let me do a quick check here.
Monday Matt was talking about that. It might be a U.S. server thing because a lot of people from the UK said that they were still able to access the website.
I don't know. I mean, I'll check on my end.
Yeah, bullyhunters.org.
Yeah, it's down here on the East Coast, I guess.
Site cannot be reached, so it's down over here as well.
Maybe the internet took it down. It only took 48 hours to bully hunters off of the internet.
Up as Know Your Meme. Bravo, people! Bravo! I think that was probably one of the best turnarounds.
You know for a fact the moment 4chan got hold of this, shit went down.
Well, they released that. So I was off at my brother's wedding this weekend, so I wasn't on the internet really for the release of Bully Hunters, and I just started seeing a little bit of on Twitter when I had a second, and then all of a sudden, now it's down. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about that. I'm the internet. Like, good job, internet.
I guarantee you they're going to use this as another marketing tool, probably like in a few good months. We got bullied off the internet. Now let us come and sell you some headsets.
Yeah.
We got bullied off the internet.
The headsets look nice, actually. I wouldn't mind having a pair just for shits and gigs. Yeah, it wasn't an awful looking headset. I'd have to look and see. They seem about right.
Yeah.
Yo.
If it isn't the Calligator. Don't forget, for the lesser saints of Discord, also check out Calligator for Kingdom Discordia right after the Saints show, as well as his D&D campaign that he hosts every Saturday at 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time.
Wait, I do the showing on this fucking channel.
Dude, I woke up still half drunk. Fuck. I just be on point.
Yeah, and I'm chilling for you. You're welcome.
Yeah, I guess I should do a public apology to Little Goblin. Do a full public apology. I was just in a bad mood and wanted to pick on somebody. You just happened to be around.
Wait, what? You on about?
Oh, shit. I just realized I tore into Rory pretty bad this morning.
Oh, no,
you did.
Oh, I didn't hear about
that. About that one. That was actually a really good tour. Really good ass tearing.
Wait, was that after I went to bed?
Yeah, this was like after what was it? After Dap woke back up.
Oh damn.
Yeah. Holy crap!
I must have missed something while I was sleeping.
As bad as it was.
7 or 8 in the morning Pacific Standard Time.
And something.
No, it was a little bit later, I think. But anyways, you were saying shit?
I remember waking up and seeing you guys in the chat.
It was not that bad of a tearing into. It was more of a, hey, I care about you enough to say, stop your shit.
Okay,
that's how I took it.
Okay, I'm glad it was more so that then.
Well, no, I mean, what I was trying to impart on him before I went to bed, sort of thing, is like, yes, you can come to us to Germany, but you are still a baboo, and there will be rules. Yeah. I mean, that's what I was trying to get through to him. It's like, yeah, man, we're going to party hardy, but you're going to do it within reason.
Yeah.
We're not going off to destroy a cop car. We're better than that.
Well,
I don't know. I mean, some of us might destroy a cop car.
No. His version of destroying a cop car is probably pushing the side. You got to be better than that. You got to do is you got to put an oil dip rag into the gas port and just literally light it on fire. Make it a bigger explosion.
Don't they use smart cars in Germany?
I do not condone explosions.
What?
Wait, I don't know.
I might be thinking of California, but whatever.
Yeah, Skirgums, don't even joke about that shit, man.
Okay.
I mean, holy shit, it's like, we're all going to get arrested at the bloody airport upon arrival.
Yeah, because we're all going to wear our brown shirts, right, so we can recognize each other.
Bring me my brown pants.
Oh, my scariness.
Don't worry, this is an American podcast, so you're fine.
German invasion to the Germany takeover.
Yeah, whether or not they let us into Germany is going to be a different question altogether. Yeah, no, I thought we were going to, we still need to coordinate our certain walk so we can recognize each other. Because anybody could wear just a regular brown shirt.
Pity it would take longer to come in through Poland, but you should totally come in through Poland so it can be Poland invasion of Germany.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but it's a hell of a lot cheaper to go through the channel, or under the channel, should I say.
Yeah.
Should we have some sort of hand signal? Something where you kind of just hold your arm out and just nice and straight?
You must ask for Kyle?
Just everyone pimp walk when they show up, Act like you got a bad limp in your leg.
Right. Well, the thing you got to remember is that Feldy and her husband still have to live there after we leave, so...
That's their own damn fault.
They're gonna live there when we leave. I'm surprised for the fact that at this point they haven't seeked asylum as is.
Yeah.
Well, it's South Germany, right?
No, it's nice. It's just more for the fact that when we show up, they're really gonna need to seek asylum.
Well, their neighbors won't like them anymore, so...
Well, you got to remember that the bulk of the people who are, well, hopefully coming sort of thing, will probably arrive in by third and fourth. We'll be there earlier, obviously, because we're coming across the channel. But I mean, even so, the whole thing's kind of predicated on like Friday till Monday. So I mean, we've only got a few days to actually do shit together.
No, we'll have all the time in the world.
Well, we're just going to be drinking and eating strudel, so...
Sounds about right.
We're not going to just be eating strudel. No, cook-off. We're doing that cook-off.
Oh, dude, the cook-off is a definite, even if we have to do it in the park.
I want to get myself some, what was it, just some good, authentic German food.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, but trust me, we'll be having all the Jägerschnitzels, all the Gurva and pomfrets, all the, Goris Peters, all the kebabs, proper, actual, real kebabs, none of that processed shit.
Sounds really good.
Yeah, it does.
Well, makes me upset if I won't be able to make it.
Don't worry, Gator. If it makes you feel any better, if you're still drunk, you can just leave the call and go for some pancakes.
Fuck, I wish I could go out for pancakes right now. I think my roommate's at work.
Oh, dude, have you got any bacon in the fridge, man? Bacon sarnies, always a good road.
There's literally nothing in the fridge right now. I've been fucking ordering takeout for like the last couple of weeks just because my roommate has refused to clean any of their shit in the fucking kitchen.
No, I hate that. I hate that's one pet peeve of mine. It's like, if you're gonna fucking use pots, pans, dishes, fucking cutlery, just fucking quickly do the dishes afterwards.
Yes, exactly.
How hard is it for people to clean up? I mean, I have a 1 day a week, this is the day I do dishes. And all dishes are done that day.
Yeah.
All that, also a good vibe. But I mean, if you're in a shared space, though, it takes like 1 minute to quickly wash up your shit and put it into the dryer, or the drain or whatever.
That's literally what I end up doing.
Yeah, well, what I do is I'll cook dinner, and then when I come home from work the next day, I'll start doing my dishes and just do them when I get home from work.
And
After I cook dinner, I just want to sit down and just eat and watch a movie.
Well, yeah, I mean, I totally agree. But I mean, if I'm going down to cook something to eat, I will literally fill the sink up, sort of thing, and be ready for dishes. And literally, the moment something is used and done with, bosh, 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 Bob's your uncle, done.
No.
Yeah.
Everything I cook is really quick cooking, though, so I don't have time in between the shit that I'm cooking. I'm too busy.
Oh,
mine
yes,
takes
the
a
old
little
school
bit longer.
bachelor cooking.
Yep.
I don't mind cooking a little bit longer. If anything, it's actually quite enjoyable for me.
Cook a little bit longer. You put on some good music.
I get pretty involved when I cook. So, as far as I'm concerned, it also makes the food taste better.
Of
Yeah.
course.
Agreed. I mean, I technically cook quickly, but what I consider a quick cook is like 20 to 30 minutes.
Well,
Yeah. I could see that.
Yeah. All right, so this is gonna be the Lesser Saints episode about food. Who's got some
Yeah.
good recipes?
Oh, I am here.
oh,
yeah.
hey.
Yeah, Liliana.
Oh,
Liliana knows the food.
Yeah.
All right.
And
The master of Italian cooking herself.
indeed.
good recipes are weird ones that are surprisingly good whenever you're shit-faced.
Oh,
Yes.
dude. There is one recipe that is the ultimate recipe in your shit face. And all you need is a couple of eggs, a small punnet of mushrooms, a bit of oil, salt, pepper, and possibly herbs if you're that way inclined. Look, this is
on the
mushroom scrambled egg.
herbs you're talking about.
Mushroom
That
scrambled
actually does
eggs.
sound pretty good there, Maxwell.
Yeah, that sounds really good.
Sauteed
Well,
mushroom.
it's quick,
with,
it's easy, and it tastes amazing when you're wrecked.
I
you
make
want to
a.
know? You want to know how to bring that one step higher with
Go on.
half a step? Huh? You got take a what was it? Take a few corn tortillas and just slit them down like you're make strips out of them. Then you take that before you start everything else. You toss them in a little bit of butter at the bottom of the pan and fry them till they're just a little bit crisp. Then throw your eggs in and your shrooms, all the rest of the stuff. Toss it together, hormigas. Oh, and dice a little bit of onion for it and throw that in.
Yeah, I can approve of that.
You
mentally.
gotta get
Yeah.
Gotta go with the onion. See, I'm where I'm at. We don't. I don't really do a whole lot of drunk cooking, predominantly because I don't get drunk. Thanks, night shift. But what we do have is Waffle House.
I
don't-
Yes, Waffle House.
Oh no,
Love
I
me
It's
some
do
good
the
like-
Waffle
place in the
House.
country that they don't care if you smoke inside because it's such a trash bin, anyways.
Actually, a lot of the newer ones do get a little pissy about that. And the state
That's weird.
is a little bit of an asshole about smoking indoors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hell,
I
Waffle
don't
House
know
around
about
here, you
drunk.
got to go out like 50 feet from the damn storage to smoke.
Ooh.
Yeah, they've got all kinds
I've
of
never really
anti.
been to a Waffle House. Think about it. I don't have it that. Actually, we don't really have a Waffle House in where I am.
Think nasty
But-
Denny's. Or
Okay.
a terrible IHOP.
IHOP's pretty goddamn terrible to begin with. No.
But those
Yeah,
chocolate
but
chip
Waffle-
pancakes, though.
Waffle House is even worse than IHOP.
No. I'll give that nod, especially just.
Speaking of, I was gonna say.
Hmm?
Speaking of drunk cooking, I don't actually cook when I'm drunk, but I do like to use a lot of alcohol with my cooking. I
Yeah.
make a really good rosemary chicken that has been marinating inside of a mixture of Chardonnay and olive oil.
Mhm.
A little bit of basil. So it was a good one to have. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, there is an absolutely wicked way to get arguably one of the greatest fucking chicken sauces of all time. Basically, have two frying pans on the go at the same time, super fucking hot. Have one with a generous portion of olive oil, sort of thing, and you want it smoking hot, like ridiculously hot, sort of thing. And then have at the ready finely chopped onions, finely chopped capsicums, peppers. like normal ones, bell peppers is what you guys think call them.
Yeah.
Sort of things. Have them all chopped about the same sort of thing. And when the thing is smoking hot, drop in the onions and the peppers, sort of thing, and basically get them to the point where the onions brown and the peppers soften.
Ooh,
And then,
actually, I was gonna say with that, you know what? Actually, I'm sorry to interrupt, but you know what actually be good with that? You add a little bit of Worcestershire sauce to it.
Yeah, that's coming. That's after. And then basically, once you get that point, pour in about, I'd say, a glass of white wine. And then once you've got the glass of white wine in, you basically get that to go down to reduce, sort of thing, so it's nice and gooey. And then while you've got that done, get the other hot pan and literally put in a really good knob of butter. Now, you want to get it to the point where the butter actually burns. Not completely burns, but just a little bit.
Yeah.
And then basically what you do is you literally whack the butter into the reduced wine, sort of thing, once it's reduced. And then you literally just add salt, pepper, a splash of Liam Perrins. And then you got the options of putting in, depending on what you like with your chicken, sort of thing, what herbs you use. I mean, I tend to go with tarragon, probably oregano, because I just like the way it tastes with chicken. But you can use any herbs that you want, and it is absolutely to die for, in my opinion.
That does sound really good. Though with partiality, with chicken, I prefer to go with a lot of lighter, sweeter herbs. Usually something like a basil usually pairs really well with the chicken.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I tend to stick towards more like orange chicken, ginger chicken, that kind of stuff. But well, I can agree. Basil's pretty great with chicken.
Yeah, I do a really good chicken stir fry with broccoli, sake, a little bit of hoisin sauce. Well, hoisin, whatever.
Hoisin. Oh my god.
We're Americans. We screw up words all the time.
Hoisin sauce.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Very, very tasty.
The right word.
Well, Leslie called oregano oregano, so I don't fucking know what's going on there.
What kind of uncultured swine would say that?
It is pronounced hoisin.
Oregano is oregano.
Damn fools.
It's basically his way of saying oregano. You know, like with him saying aluminium instead of saying the correct way, which is aluminum.
Yeah, but Squiggums, I've told you this before. You don't say tabla though, so that doesn't work.
What do you mean?
It's okay.
You guys don't say tabla or cabler. You say cable and table. So that's why it's aluminium, not aluminum. Oh my god.
There's no I in
aluminum.
Yes, there is.
I know, but table doesn't go T-A-B-I-L-E.
Sorry.
That's the correct pronunciation.
T-A-B-L-E, table.
Aluminium is the correct pronunciation, but
thank you.
Oregano is the correct pronunciation too.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe. Well, I mean, it's Italian, so I mean, it can go either way.
Shit, do you have like demon marks scrolled all over your wall there or something? I've been like staring at it for the last few minutes, trying to make it out.
Who?
Shit.
Maybe. I'd done a lot of crazy shit when I was younger.
Fair enough.
I know. Is that a hanging from the ceiling and the light shining on it?
Well, I got some shit I hang up on my ceiling, like old con badges and stuff. So those are the shadows.
Yeah, cool. Cool.
So I have a recipe for you to try. This is actually something I got from Ken Casey, whom some of you may know as an author from the 60s. So it's called Huevos Whateveros. And what you do is you take your leftovers from your Mexican feast the night before. So like, refried beans, ruptured burritos, whatever. Okay. Broken tacos, whatever you got. You mix all that up together. You put it into a frying pan. Then you take some eggs, you crack them open on top of that, and stick it all under the broiler.
Ooh.
I don't know. I don't really make tacos anymore. I make taco salads.
Tacos. I still love tacos.
Yeah. I love tacos.
I'd kill for fucking tacos right now. Like, not even kidding. Holy
No.
shit.
Oh no, homemade tamales.
Oh, tamales. You don't really get tamales too often. Well, you inhale them, but
Well, of course you inhale the tamales. How else are you gonna eat them? They're usually gonna be so good. You can't help but inhale them.
no. I've had bad tamales. There's definitely some motherfuckers who do not know what
Yeah,
they're
of
doing.
course I know there's bad
Okay,
tamales.
here's a weird thing to do with tacos, or at least a weird thing I do with tacos. Basically, I'll get a like half a pound of minced beef.
Mm.
I'll chop in a mixture of like bell peppers, cucumber, bits of carrot, and a bit of onion. And then what I'll do for sauces, you know those fucking Dorito salsas you can get?
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Yeah,
depending
basically.
on whether you like a kick or a bit of a lick sort of thing, you either get the mild or the spicy, and you literally use that as a base sauce for the ground beef, and then you slap it into the taco, and it's fucking divine.
Actually, that was a technique for preparation for taco beef seasoning. You can sit there and use you take a glug of whatever
And
salsa
then-
that you like, and then you sit there and add a glug of some cheap Mexican beer. Let it cook all the way down. Go ahead and make sure to spice it well and all that other stuff on top of it. But that actually marries with the meat very well, and the meat like absorbs some of that tomatoey, spicy goodness that you get in the salsa.
Ooh.
Well, yeah, beef is usually paired. Beef is usually like good with a beer. Like if you cook it with a beer, it usually tends to be good. But it's
Well, I mean, one of the greatest staples in Blighty is steak and ale pie. So I know for a fact that beef and beer are like a marriage made in heaven.
Well, I'll be staying with one of my local specialties tonight, which is, we call it a cheesy western. It's a small beef patty with a fried or quasi-fried egg on top of it, with a special mustard onion pepper relish on top of it, and all fried up on a griddle. It's probably about an inch of grease on it from where it's been used all day.
Oh shit!
It's delicious.
Sounds like
ooh no, that's speaking of that. That sounds. You know what sounds good right now?
food in general.
Well,
Yeah.
that too. Well, that's this is a food episode. This is not going to be anything about guns or in metaphysics. It's going to be a simple food episode where all of our viewers can figure out a good, nice recipes.
But what about the metaphysics of the anomalous properties of guns that shoot food?
Like a spud gun.
No. We're just gonna skip right over that.
No, but oh god, it's more of just I've been listening too much to Yakun, but good old collard greens would be good at this moment with some deep fried catfish.
Oh god damn it.
Oh, that would be delightful.
Oh, actually, speaking of greens, right? I don't know. I mean, obviously, it is a bit of an acquired taste, but asparagus is fucking amazing in my opinion.
No, I make a good.
Asparagus makes you piss like a racehorse.
It does make you piss like a racehorse, but if I don't know how well quiche does across the pond, but over here it does bloody well, especially if you've got some nice stems of asparagus and garlic fucking mushrooms. Oh my god, it is the when it comes to quiches, in my opinion.
Yeah, that
does
sounds
sound
fucking
good.
amazing.
I would sub that with spinach personally.
Spinach is also excellent in a quiche.
Yeah, spinach
Quiche
with
quiche is actually quite good, but of course, if you want the real deal, you have to have the Italian version, which is the frittata.
Oh.
Yeah, also valid.
Yeah, there's a local coffee shop in my neighborhood that my sister works at. It's run out of the back of an Italian restaurant, and they sell a lot of frittatas and scones and other baked goods out of there.
I might have had opportunity to have that. I know I've had fritellas, which are was it the it's the I guess the more accurate version of what a calzone is.
Calzone.
What was it? There's a little restaurant out in College Station up the roads a ways, and first generation Italian immigrant family has run the place. for like the last, I want to say 50 years. And they make everything in-house from scratch. So they're the only thing that they take in at the beginning of the day is unbutchered meat and vegetables. They hand do everything, but the fritellas were always really, really good. It's like you just take a what was it, like this little pizza dough pocket, you fill it with, your toppings and whatnot, seal it together, and then you put it to fry on a bath of oil. And it comes out like really, really like puff pastry almost, and just it's delightful. I absolutely adore it. The only thing is that they don't put the.
So basically, they'd be like massive profiterolls, but instead of cream, you get like Italian toppings.
Kind of, except that they're sealed. It's all sealed in.
Right.
So it's got like that. It actually almost like steams on the inside, which is kind of an interesting effect of them. I'm sorry. I'm still hacking up shit from yesterday.
I can ship today.
Yeah, hacking up shit from today. Sorry. God damn it. I don't even know what time. I don't even remember how I got back to my bed. Jesus fuck. Like, I just remember I was telling Dad, I was like, I'm going to bed. And then just, like, after that, blank. And then next thing I know, I'm laying in bed, I roll over, and I go, yep, the world's still spinning, put a blanket over my head, and went back to sleep.
That'll definitely do it.
Speaking of Italian, I am ordering Domino's for supper.
I do.
Oh, Jesus Christ. No.
I am offended.
Yeah.
Don't be mad at me. I just wanted chicken Alfredo.
Yeah, but you are actually aware of how like ridiculously simple like pizza dough is, right?
Yeah, I know, but remember, I have nothing in my fridge.
Oh yes,
or in my cabinet.
You
Good
also
point.
know that Alfredo sauce is not actually authentic Italian.
I know.
I've had Sicilian pizza. Now that
Is
is
the bechamel like French initially?
bash, yeah.
I believe
Bechamel.
so, yes. Yeah.
Really, I mean bechamel. I mean that's mostly used for. Some sauces you can get away with, sort of thing. Like also, I mean you get like mushroom fucking tagliatelle, man. Oh, so good. I mean
Now,
you definitely
we do have an Italian sauce, an authentic Italian sauce, which is similar to Alfredo sauce, but it's not. It's called bianco, which means white. Bianco sauce.
Yeah, like the stuff you put in lasagna.
Well, we do have bechamel sauce in Italy as well, which is the same thing as the French bechamel. And that's often used in pasta, like you would put like a marinara sauce on the bottom and put your pasta on top and then put bechamel on top.
Yeah, that's the way I do it. So I think it's like triple layer, like boom boom boom, then boom boom boom, then boom boom boom, and then like finish it off with I don't know, like a healthy helping of like cheese top sort of thing. Just a little sprinkle of nutmeg, little sprinkle of paprika. Whack it in the oven for 32 minutes, and you're welcome.
Got to add this because the fucking moron delivery drivers never actually do it. Hard.
The recipes.
Theirs.
Well, I guess the food's out of the option. Let's see.
So, how do you guys feel about World War III?
Oh.
Yeah, it's very low energy.
I think it's going to be non-nuclear.
Sad, low energy.
Sad, low energy.
World War III is not a matter of if. It's going to happen this century. It's just a matter of when.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've been waiting for the shoe to drop for a long time, and I imagine this is probably how what was it, the people running up to World War I felt. Every nation vying to fucking chomp at the bit.
Yeah, or fucking walking around on bloody eggshells, one or the other.
Yep.
Yeah.
I kind of have my doubts that we're going to see World War III over this business in Syria.
Oh, no, probably not this.
Very concerned about it at first, but I don't think it's actually going to wind up as World War III. But we are in a new Cold War, which is something I lived through and didn't want to ever see again in this lifetime anyway.
Well, I mean, did it ever actually really end, or did it just kind of move into more of an economic kind of thing?
No, it ended. It ended.
It ended.
Yeah.
I mean, are we really sure about that? Because we've been kind of going back and forth with Russia for how many decades now? Still.
No, after the wall fell, like Russia became a hell of a lot more friendly with the United States. Relations improved tremendously, and it was up until just the recent, I'd say 5 to 10 years, has been the first time that anti-Russian sentiment has become a thing in America again.
Yeah, and it's
becoming a thing because of the Warhawks. We all know that.
Yeah, it is. That's Russia's the big bad, the old big bad that they can always point at.
Russians, and it's just like, can we just stop? It's gonna lead us to horrible places. I, for one, do not want to be drafted into a war against Russia or any other satellite wars.
Well, I mean, that's the thing that you young bucks have got to worry about, sort of thing. I'm too old to be conscripted, even for Blighty, sort of thing. I mean, the worst I might have to do is, like, maybe do some, like, policing in my own country, sort of thing. But other than that, I can't. I'm too old, because I'm over 40, so nix for that.
I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have lung cancer by the time they try to draft anybody. So,
heart condition. But I mean, I don't know if this is gonna be another freaking world war out of Syria. I doubt that's gonna happen. I mean, I'm with everybody on that one, but it's just, why are we doing this exactly?
Because
it's all to do with the Jordan Valley, isn't it?
Well, we've just been at war since the 70s. So
the reason for it is there is a natural gas pipeline which is held by Russia that goes through Syria and from Iran through Syria and then into Eastern Europe and Russia. And the Center for New American Security, which is a neoconservative think tank, the successor of the Project for the New American Century, put out a paper back in April of 2016 calling for the establishment of, and I quote, non-Russian pipelines, end quote, in Syria and Iran.
Yeah, because that was they're trying to resecure the trade with OPEC out there, because the Russians have surplus oil and natural gas. They're just pretty much giving away at this point.
Oh yeah, but it's all the pussy putting around that people are doing at the moment, sort of thing, because that one's allied with that one, that one's allied with that one, that one's allied with that one, and at some point, somebody's gonna break something that the other person's gonna be way too pissed about, and it'll just escalate from there. I mean, that's how simple it could be.
Well, remember, World War I started at the assassination of an archduke.
Yeah.
Just one single man killed by.
There's actually a really funny. It started with the attempted assassination that failed, and then the guy went to a sandwich shop to get some, and then Archduke Ferdinand went right by the sandwich shop later on because they had a detour.
His car stopped right by it, and the guy literally just saw his chance and took it.
Yep.
And I mean, if you've not covered what happened the months leading up to the First World War, it's utterly stupid. Everything that was, every chance everybody had to get out of it, even up to the moment that Germany started sending troops, they could have stopped the war at that point. And it was just a matter of nobody really knew what to do. As I think Blackadder put it, they just put all this effort into having a war, so everybody thought, why not?
Well, I mean, it's because basically the right hand didn't know what the left hand was fucking doing. So basically, it was just like, okay, charge.
Mm. Yeah, basically.
Yeah. Well, I liked America's old policy on wars, which was stay the fuck out of it until they sink one of our ships or bomb one of our harbors. Stay the fuck out of it.
Yeah, but now we can't because
we totally can.
And we
can. We can.
But they choose not to.
No, we can. The problem
because it means is that the masses are going to support them and that shit like that. It's just all about the House of Cards.
There was some shit going around that if you don't support this war in Syria, then you're racist. And sexist.
Bombing brown people is now not bombing brown people is now racist.
Yeah, the not bombing of them is racist. It's like, how does that work?
From that is actually some high level gymnastics right there.
That's a triple twist spine.
That is
spine breaker.
I'm a far right. I'm a far right populist nationalist for not wanting to go to war.
Hey, as a far right national populist, I'm in agreement.
Call me Mussolini.
No, I mean it's.
Sorry,
How about Mussolini?
Much.
I prefer Mussolini. You know, he's a cute little dash hound. He's got a kind of a stylish hat on, and seems to be smiling all the time and waving.
Vastly incompetent.
Very much so. Have you ever seen a competent weenie dog?
No.
Mussolini.
Mussolini.
Oh no.
Guys watching, make it happen. Mussolini.
Mussolini.
The funny thing is that, see, it's I want to so badly I want to really get a wiener dog named Mussolini. Give it to my dad because my dad really hates wiener dogs. Like he's like, he visibly hates it. Like he will kick it. He's like, you'd be like, get that fucking thing away from me.
Wow, that's quite the hatred.
He does.
Yeah.
That's not a dog. That's a rat.
No, that's a chihuahua.
If it's smaller than a cat, it is a rat.
I like little wieners. Come on, guys.
No, Doctor.
Would you say you like feminine wieners?
I said little.
Well, of course, it's the traps. It's the feminine penis that makes it better.
We go from.
All right. I go for the Dankulus school. Is that a trap sucking you off? It's not gay.
Going balls deep in a trap's boy pussy. Not gay.
Not gay.
You sucking a trap stick. What are you, gay?
Gay?
Miss me with that gay shit.
I thought it was only gay if the balls touched.
No, it's only gay
anymore.
if you actually like in on purpose push back, then it's gay. Vaseline competent. Okay. Yeah, definitely.
Oh.
I can't follow that one up.
My goddamn Discord's exploding with people trying to get a hold of me.
What are you talking
about? I'm on the air. Huh?
Oh, aren't you the popular one?
What?
So Discord's exploding? What are you talking about?
Tim, yeah, my Discord is exploding, not yours.
Oh, okay.
No.
I've just got friends from other servers finally getting back with me.
You're not allowed to be a part of any other servers. What are you talking about?
Oh, kiss my ass.
I do what I want. I'm 13 years old. That's a Lesser Saints server and the Saints server. Those are the only two servers that are allowed.
What about the
in my server?
Yeah, what about Saints Gaming though?
That's an off branch of the Lesser Saints, so I guess that one's okay.
Well, gotta keep that cult together, right?
Oh,
Yeah, you gotta. You can only be a member of Saints servers, and Monday Matt's server because he's a friend of the Saints.
Oh, dude, I've got like a dozen of these things.
We still need to organize that whole that porn bomb on Monday Matt's server.
Hello.
Yo.
Yo.
Oh, I dropped.
Yeah.
Derp.
No, I dropped that. That's what happened.
Yeah, we still need to organize that that massive porn bomb for Monday Matt's server.
Well, all we have to do is invite Hannah in, and then we have Hannah and
Hannah is in there, but like Harris is like trying to drop a damn dirty bomb in a city to clear it out.
Well,
What do you know? Hannah, Harris.
Yeah, well, we need Hannah, Devil King, Harris,
Cacatrani.
I want to.
Cacatrani, Queer.
Okay, actually, I have one for us to discuss here. The activist lawyer in New York who set himself on fire and burned to death to protest global warming.
The irony.
So he added the carbon of his elimination to the problem of global warming.
Yep.
Apparently.
Yes, apparently. To solve his carbon problem.
Okay, I mean, here's the thing, right? Now, the reason why there are so many global warming deniers, fucking air quotes sort of thing, is because it technically isn't happening the way that people are being led to believe that it's happening. The planet is basically practically a living, breathing thing, sort of thing, and it goes through multiple stages of its own lifespans, sort of thing. I mean, we've come from a volcanic mass to what we are now, sort of thing, and it goes through different stages. Like the magnetics eventually will change. There'll be another ice age in something like 30,000 years or whatever, sort of thing. These are just the different changes that the planet constantly goes through. So yes, climate change is happening, but only because the climate is technically always changing.
Yeah. But
we are accelerating changes through a lot of the pollution that we're putting out there. I still
hold a lot of skepticism for that myself. I do seriously have a lot of skepticism on human impact, just due to the fact of, well, we're looking at concentrations that are tremendous by most scales. This is planetary, trying to how to best put this, because
God damn it.
Drunk brain work. Well, you're familiar with the whole conservation of matter, correct?
Yeah.
There was a point in time where the atmosphere was so thick with carbon that plants grew absolutely out of control, right? You had the Carboniferous Period. We were actually talking about it the other day.
Hawkeye, giant, hawk-sized dragonflies, the cat-sized spiders. I think I remember there was a specific type of millipede that grew about, I'd say about 15 feet long. Pure armor. This is American standard, so it'd probably be about 5 or 6 meters long.
Yeah, so in the Carboniferous Period, all of this carbon that we get from petrochemicals, which we're barely tapping into, was in the atmosphere and then drained into plants. And as far as it goes, like it got to the point where there the carbon dioxide content in the atmosphere was drained by these plants to the point where they could no longer sustain their own size and begin to collapse and form these huge deposits where we have coal or giant algae sheets that became subsurface oil deposits. In a way, when we're sitting here reburning all of these fossil fuels and stuff like that, this is like a trickle of a tenth of a tiny bit of these things. And even in the 200 years that we've been actively making use of petroleums and whatnot, it's not able to affect a large area outside of its immediacy. Like the planet does not respond that much to it, whereas comparatively, a chemical like, let's say, back in the day when Aquanet still used fluorine, or what was it, fluorides? Not fluoride, fluorine.
Chlorofluorocarbons or whatever.
Yeah. Chlorofluorocarbons, which gave it the extra stick in your hair and helped hold it into place. Well, those things, the CFCs, those are kind of a anomalous compound to go into the atmosphere, and that chewed a hole through ozone because CFCs, the fluorine group is a little bit more grabby, more electronegative than the oxygen was, so it's able to rip the unstable O3 ozone molecule to pieces. And well, now you have, well, it's healed now, but beforehand we were starting to have bad ozone problems.
Because cancer risk went up and everything like that.
Yeah, for ultraviolet and cosmic radiation. So that was definitely a problem. But I think a lot of this, the Green Energy Initiative, and pointing at carboniferous sources of fuels and things like that, it's not doing anything. We're not able to keep up with the planet itself chugging out fucking carbon dioxide. And not only that, the other thing is that we are in a transitory period right now. We've apparently been due for an ice age for a fairly long time. I think I got into it with Waffle about it a while back. Geologically, we're supposed to already be going towards an ice age. Yeah. So as it does so, and this is not a 13,000 year thing. This is more like within the next 2,000 years sort of deal.
Yeah.
There was one fella, he got on Ruben, a few other ones, but he had a really fascinating conversation about the potential benefits if we are able to actually put that much carbon into the atmosphere and redirect the flow of the ice ages and stuff. It would vastly increase farmlands. It would increase the areas where the planet is habitable. Growing seasons would be longer. Winters would be more mild. All these other sort of things. Like there was I think it was called The Ethical Argument for Fossil Fuels, which I actually found is a very fascinating read. Not only that, but petrochemical engineering these days, you can work fucking goddamn miracles with fossil fuels.
Yeah, I kind of fall in the same line with you, man.
I mean, all of the kind of things that they came up with, like could happen, this could happen, this could happen, and this could happen. Mm-hmm. Emphasis on the word could.
Could. Yep.
Yes.
So they don't actually have any solid kind of pattern or trail or pointing to this is what's going to happen. They've just got a whole bunch of coulds.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. One of a good example of this, and it goes back to Mount Pinatubo and Mount St. Helens. Pinatubo being, they were actually studying it at the time. When Pinatubo went up, it affected weather all the way across the world for, I think, upwards of 10 years.
Yeah.
I'm a little rusty on the numbers there. And it's just like, and you think that, okay, us shutting down 5 coal-powered plants in West Virginia is going to change anything on a grand scale. Mm-hmm. Might make you feel better, but chances of it actually fixing something are negligible.
The only thing it's going to fix is the local area if there's a population around, and that's mostly like lung conditions, like the air quality. Anything beyond that, it's not going to do shit.
Yeah.
That is definitely a very real thing out of that. Like, what was it? England found out about the initial effects to too much coal use without any sort of filtration. Specifically London. Yeah. Acid rain and the like, back during, what was it, the Victorian or the Edwardian? And you guys,
Victorian, right, Edwardian.
Okay.
Edwardian was turn of the century, correct?
Well, didn't that also lead to it was a species of moth that was like a certain shade of gray became a lot more prevalent because there was ash everywhere. So they wouldn't be hunted down by predators as easily. They were blending in a lot more. So there was like a whole species of moth that was wiped out because predators could see them.
Well,
yeah, but here's the thing about the species. Hang on. Here's the thing about the species of this planet, sort of thing. Now, while there's like people are making certain concerted efforts to kind of preserve certain life on this planet, is you got to remember that 93% of all life that's ever lived on this planet is gone.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. So things actually technically dying out, becoming extinct, is kind of part of the course. I mean, despite the efforts that people might, Greenpeace and all that hippie-hugging tree shit that they do to try and preserve certain species, sort of thing, it's actually kind of the raison d'etre of our planet to kill shit off.
Yeah.
We also have to keep...
I mean, one thing that a lot of people don't seem to fully recognize is we are nature.
Yeah.
We're natural beings. A lot of people, they separate humans away from what nature is. But cities, they're natural. We build them. They're fucking beehives. They're advanced technologically beehives, but it's all just nature.
We're still just tool flinging monkeys.
Yeah.
What you're saying, but no, I definitely agree with that. And one thing that a lot of people, with the argument on preservation of species, and I've often heard the quoted, okay, we've lost this many species and stuff like that. One thing that most people tend to forget about is that we're still getting new divergent species from the creatures that still exist. So the biosphere does stabilize. Not only that, in the instance of those moths in London, those insects were not completely indigenous to the London area. They were indigenous to all of England, if memory serves.
Yeah, they were part of the Greater London, not just like the centre.
Yeah. So as far as it goes, I mean, they're not. If they became extinct, it was because of a maladaptation, which is one aspect. But they had enough space away from the city that even with the pollution and stuff like that, the pollution stayed mostly around the city. If you guys remember back during the 90s, the joke of all the smog over LA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It never got.
Don't you mean smug?
The smug, yes, that too.
Yeah, that's
no. That's San Francisco.
Oh.
That's San Francisco too.
Well, yeah, the city was shit in the streets.
Yeah, but the deal was that smog sort of like sat over the city. It didn't have an effect to like go over the mountains and choke out life all around that region. It just sort of stayed there over the city where it dissipated slowly.
Well, yeah, you could say that that's just how weather works. I mean,
well, yeah.
Here in Washington State, so the west side of Washington State is there's rainforest over here and everything like that. On the east side of the state, over the mountains, it's all desert. It's dry as hell over there, and that's because clouds can't travel across the mountains that easily.
Mm.
And they end up dropping a lot of rain on the rain or snow on the mountaintops, and all the moisture from over here doesn't make it all the way over there.
Yeah, that's kind of our saving grace. Go on.
I would just like to state for the record that I am a tree-hugging hippie. Member of the Green Party, as a member of the Green Party of the United States.
Get the fuck out of this hangout.
Hey, I'm a member of the Green Party too.
I'm a member of the Green Party. Any more Italian recipes?
Yeah, but
I'm a member of the Green Party, and it glows.
Humans are destroying the planet, sort of thing, because we're not. We're really not. I think there's absolutely no backup that anybody can claim to say that that's exactly what's happening. Although there is plenty of backup about the geological transformation of our planet, which it is going through constantly. There's plenty of evidence to suggest that.
Yeah, we may not be the best stewards of the planet, but
I wouldn't even call us stewards of the planet at this point. We are even with all of mankind's concerted effort to sort of if we wanted to strip mine and destroy the entire planet, it would take probably, even with all of our technology and things, aside from just using goddamn atom bombs, it would take us something to the neighborhood of 30 generations to be able to decimate the biosphere on the planet to the point where it would be too damaged to recover. 30 generations of individuals that are 100% from birth until death are, raised up and working towards destroying everything that exists.
Well, that's why space is so important.
I mean, Barr brings up a good point. The planet will survive just fine. Really, what it comes down to is we are trying to maintain the planet to be habitable for us.
Yeah.
And so it's not necessarily the planet that's going to die. It's that we're going to die and not be able to experience the planet anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, that's a much better put statement at that.
Yeah. And, I mean, like I said, if anybody who's talked with me knows, I work for a West Virginia coal company.
Mhm.
And everybody's just like, oh, you guys want to destroy the planet? It's like, actually, no. It is in our best interest to keep, when we're done with the strip mine, to put the money back into it to revitalize that area that's been decimated by our mining, because we have workers that live in that area. We have families, we have people, and if you're not familiar with West Virginia, it's nothing but mountaintops and river valleys. So when one thing happens, disaster follows downhill quickly.
By the way, can I use this moment to bitch about electric cars for a second? Fuck electric cars. A lot of our power comes from coal. So until we start going nuclear or something, quit buying electric cars.
You do realize...
I mean, electric cars are generally just a gimmick sort of thing. They're to make the people feel like they're doing something for the environment. It is just an absolute sham.
Yeah. You're doing more for the environment by planting trees.
You do realize that if we were to stop subsidizing the oil and coal industry right now, the cost of electricity generated by wind and solar power would be less.
We do a lot of subsidizing, especially in California for power. Solar panels are actually really expensive to make, and they're also and it's also really there's a large impact on the environment when you make solar panels. What we do need to do, though, we need to move towards nuclear, which is clean. You see what comes out of the top of nuclear power plants? That's not pollution. That's water vapor because of the cooling systems.
All that's
something.
Also, it's with the wind turbine generator. Everybody's like, "Oh, it's so clean," except when the birds start running into it, because they do that.
Or they break down.
They were going to have a whole. They were also going to have a whole solar panel farm in Nevada or Arizona or something. But those being there, they got so hot it started killing off a lot of the mosquito population, and it was fucking with other stuff. So that got shut down by a bunch of environmentalists.
Fuck, my city's trying to put in a solar panel farm in the middle of the city, and one, they're doing it stupidly. They don't even pivot. They just sit there at one angle, so that's fucking retarded. And
yeah, because they want it to look aesthetic at all times.
Yeah, it's nothing more than just draining cash to say, hey, we made something. Don't pay attention to the other money we're pocketing.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. I'm not 100% against solar panels. Like if somebody wants to, like Tesla came out with those solar panel roof tiles. Somebody wants to coat their roof with that live in a sunny area, go for it. If you want to provide your energy by, let's say you live next to a creek, putting in like a little hydroelectric dam sort of thing, go for it. You live in a windy area and you want to put up some of your own windmills to generate electricity, go for that too. I don't fucking care. But what I'm saying is, on a large scale, we need to go nuclear.
Yeah, at that point, for the amount of energy that our systems make use of, nuclear is really kind of the only choice that we have left.
Yeah, I mean,
it's surprisingly clean. It's just been so demonized.
It has
Well,
it is hyper
It has
efficient.
been badly demonized.
Well,
It
when you
has-
have the exclusion zone in around Pierrepet and in the Ukraine, and that's still fresh in many people's memories. And then you have the whole 3 Mile Isle incident, which was literally because somebody didn't get off the rest to check out a pump. And I mean, you look at this stuff, it's like you can understand why people have these insane.
Well,
fears about it.
there actually is still a there is a vested lobby that goes to advocate against nuclear power. It's been on the environmentalist block for I don't know pretty much since founding with what happened in Chernobyl and 3 Mile Island. But the deal is modern nuclear power plants are not the Chernobyl power plant.
Well, there's a couple lobbyist groups that lobby against updating our nuclear plants. So a lot of our nuclear power plants are way out of date right now. There's a lot of them still, like their programming is still run on floppy disks.
Yeah,
some of them.
They still use vacuum tubes.
That's kind of why I live near a power plant and a hydroelectric dam. Our power is pretty fucking cheap and it's consistent. But our reactors and stuff are old as fuck. And the only worry I have is somebody fucks something up. It's human error. Because otherwise, the thing runs perfect. I love the thing.
Here's the thing you have to realize about nuclear power. In most cases, even in the old plants, they were built for reliability. That was the main thing. Yeah. Minimal upkeep. So they're built hyper durable. I mean, for the fact that they have lasted more than 70 years in operation, says a lot. But the deal is, you have to be like catastrophically negligent to make one of these reactors go boom.
Even Fukushima, that was because of an earthquake. That was entirely unexpected.
Yeah. It wasn't the earthquake. It was the tsunami that hit it.
That's
right. The earthquake that it shouldn't have survived.
The thing about 3 Mile Island also is that plant was not constructed properly.
Yeah.
See, that's what I mean by worry is I'm worried more about human error because around this area, we do have some pretty intelligent people, but there are some really stupid fucks who get into these kind of jobs, and they would be that negligible where they just, I'm not gonna pay attention to that, and they'd let it just go on and on and on until it
Homer
broke.
Simpson.
Yeah, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I understand, a lot of nuclear power plant jobs are mostly just supervision and making sure things are
like checking dials and checking pressures and shit like that.
Yeah, pretty much. Like I said, the plants, even the old 1950s plants, are run about 99% on automation. You know, you have maybe a couple of operators for external control arms and things like that to remove spent fuel rods or insert new rods into the core, and some packaging and things like that for sealing any waste that is created.
Even the waste that is created, there are technologies coming out now that we can totally reconstitute most of the waste.
Oh no, we've been able to reconstitute most radioactive material since the inception of nuclear power plants. That's how we got as much plutonium as we did. We made breeder reactors.
Yeah, I'm saying we're getting a lot more efficient with it.
Yep.
Well, the rest of the world is. America ain't, considering the fact that all of our nuclear engineers are going to other nations like France and stuff like that, who actually make use of it.
That's a lobbyist problem. And
it does seem like you Yanks have pulled back a fair bit on the old science verse.
Yeah, very much.
That all comes down to lobbyists. Lobbying should be virtually illegal.
Lobbyists hate progress.
It's legal. It's legalized bribery of the government, and it's much bullshit.
Yeah,
it's 100% bullshit.
Let me see if I can pull this up. There was something that that was pulled to my attention before. There is a movement going on, and I wanted to share it with all of you.
Where we land?
Yeah, you posted that
If
video
you
in the
if you
Discord, like, a
screen
while back.
share that, I'll fucking
Let me see here.
I'll present you.
Yeah, just give me a minute. Here it is. It is the what was it? What was it? Corruption is legal in America. Part of the the anti-corruption movement, which is making use of the American voters' right to be able to write in laws around Congress and the president and everything.
Yeah.
Like if the like direct democracy sort of deal.
Just got to get a large enough
in,
majority.
What you mean, around as in usurp?
Yeah, we have a thing that allows us to write in laws as long as we get, I think it was like a 2/3 majority of the states on board.
Mm-hmm. No, in population, in direct, direct population?
That's what I mean. That's what I mean when I say states. The population.
Here's the, I'll post the link up here. But they have a.
Oh no, keep going, Gator.
They have a website and stuff on represent.us, which is asking for people to begin signing on the petition and find out how to get involved and active in this. This is a multi-step plan that's going to cut out the ability for lobbyists to get at politicians and turn everything transparent. That's the whole deal of it. It is a huge reform movement going on right now, and honestly, I'm really hopeful that this finally starts getting in.
Yeah, that sounds pretty nice. You posted the YouTube link. I'm not gonna follow that because my internet is garbage, and I'm afraid we're gonna drop out of this if I end up following that.
Yeah,
but if you screen share, I'll present you, and we can go from there.
Let me see if I can get that. Does it let me choose which screen I'm sharing? Yes, it does. Okay. There it goes. That is screen sharing. Will it have the audio, I wonder?
It should.
Okay.
All right. You're being presented.
All right.
No, I'm not hearing any audio.
God damn it.
I'm not hearing any of it.
Fuck. Okay.
I've seen this before. I have seen this before. It is a good video. Yes.
Actually, can you stick it into general or cross promote so we can at least have a look at Butcher's later?
Toss it in the Discord.
Yeah, they have several videos where they go over all of it. So, let's see here. Copy video URL. Also,
this is also the channel which has done some stuff about ranked choice voting, I believe.
They have their hearts in the right place, I think, and I think they're going to go places with this sort of thing if people will fucking wake up and stop being lazy and pay attention to.
But the second they gain any good traction, there's going to be a huge pushback from the lobbyists, which, with their money, they could run advertisements and basically run them into the ground.
They can try, but the deal is that it is the worst kept secret in the States these days that like paying off politicians thing. So as far as it goes, most people are more than well aware that all of these PACs and things like that are all supported by these lobbyist motherfuckers. And that, politicians get a nice cushy job as a lobbyist as they move out of power. It's like, oh, I don't even have to continue to be running for election. I can just sort of retire back and just advise my successor on what laws they should do and collect a nice tidy paycheck.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but the problem with that is that you can only throw money at a problem for so long.
Well, no. What they're doing is they're throwing money at advisors, and then there's no laws against advisors getting money from these lobby groups. And that leads to the advisors giving the actual politicians some advice. And, for all we know, there might be some under-the-table money that's going around.
Oh no, there is. There's a lot of it.
This is Washington.
There has actually been legislation. There's actually been legislation that was passed into law in the United States that was written by lobbyists and given to our senators and representatives to introduce on the floor.
Yeah, well, isn't it like 3 or 4 times a year there's a special meeting between Congress and lobbyists?
I don't know how often they do it, but yeah, there seems to be quite a lot of. I mean, it's corruption. That's plain and simple.
Yeah, it's the same thing that what was it? The problems that we faced back during the cleanup that Roosevelt went through.
Yeah,
when he came in, trust busting. It was the exact same fucking shit.
All right. So what you're saying is vote Jables 2037.
Vote Squiggins for never, because I don't want to run. Oh, shit.
I'd run for
Don't worry, Jables. My Romulan warbirds will be in orbit long before that, and then I will liberate you all.
All right.
Darren XP?
Yeah, fuck it. I'll just run for political office, and I'll run it how you guys want. I'll represent just you guys, not my actual state. And
But what will your platform be, Jables?
What will my platform be? Get fucked.
We're gonna leave the notice freely for everybody.
Yeah.
No, I like
Dick
that.
for
I
all.
like Jables Boogly for president. Get fucked.
Yeah, don't memes be dreams.
It's
That's,
not the disfranchisement sort of thing. The thing of it is people don't generally know or know how to do anything if they can do anything, because it's not exactly made clear to individuals what can and cannot be done. On purpose, obviously, sort of thing, because confusion results. But yeah, it's not the fact that the dispensation or even laziness for that matter is people generally do not know.
No, there is a
I mean, I
lot
wouldn't have
of
a clue how to actually like fucking get the government doing shit for me. Wouldn't have a clue how to do that. I mean, outside of like social media, I wouldn't have a clue what, how, when.
well, you have to get involved in politics, and you have to start talking to politicians.
Yeah.
Like my cousin is running for a county representative position with my state. Him and I agree on a lot of things, but him and I also disagree on a lot of other things. He's pretty far left.
stupid net.
Now I'm gonna dox my cousin. Shit. Yeah.
Your cousin, if nothing else, it just proves that your cousin's a more honorable individual.
Yeah. No, he's a really good guy. I love him. I think he would do really well in politics.
Mm-hmm. Shit. I've often kind of thought about it. I'm not gonna lie. I mostly just in the fact that I want to help people, and I know that a lot of shit's messed up here, and even though I know that my power is severely limited, I would still try and do my best for whoever I could.
Yeah, if I were on a platform of getting rid of lobbyists, though, I'd never be elected.
Yeah, exactly. Because you have to have money to even get in. Yeah, because you need to have money to be able to start, going in the first place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, who was that guy during Obama, when Obama was running for a second term, he tried to run for president. He was a school teacher.
I don't
there was a whole documentary made about him.
Shit, what was that guy? I know who you're talking about. I can't think of his name.
Yeah.
It wasn't Gary Johnson, was it?
No.
No, okay.
No,
Yeah.
Gary Johnson actually had backing. This was just a normal guy. He was just a school teacher. He did his own campaigning. He accepted no funds from pretty much anybody, other than like family. And he spent all day on the phones campaigning. He went literally door to door and campaigned that way. Fuck, why can't I remember his name? It's been so long since that happened.
Use your Google foo.
No, I can't. My internet's going to break if I do anything more than host this stream.
You do realize that Google is hosting it, not you.
Is it Wolf?
Yeah, but if it... maybe... It was a document... It was made, or it was made during... It was a documentary that was made during Obama's campaign for re-election.
What the hell is the...
2008.
So in, like, 2008.
All right. No, that was McCain and Obama. So 4 years after that, 2012 election.
That was Romney.
Oh. Yeah, 2012 election. God damn. So
Romney was not a teacher, though. Romney was the
No, he was totally independent. The only reason why I knew about him is because this documentary popped up on Netflix one day. I think it was Netflix.
Wasn't the Westerville man, was it?
Maybe.
You had...
I think he was from the East Coast.
Let's see here. Oral college changes.
And he was running for president, too.
Yeah. It says Possessor began in 2011 when Hartnell's homeroom class, blah, 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 blah.
Jay, Waffles
that sounds
back.
about
He's asking for the Hangout link.
Oh.
Twitter.
Yeah, it's in your Twitter?
Yeah, at Jables Boogly. Hangout link's there. It's my most recent tweet.
Hartnell. I don't know what his first name was, though.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Anyways, he tried to run, but he didn't get like campaign financing or anything like that, and so nobody heard about him until that documentary came out.
Which is a shame because that would have been a lot better than the second round of Obama. Sadly,
Yeah, that's
100% better.
everybody's. That was definitely a time. Like the first one was okay, that's completely fine, and then it's
Welcome, Waffle.
Then
Hey, Waffles.
Hey, Waffles.
Stop it. Just yap it.
Hey, well.
Need some help.
Why the fuck do I see Skyrim Special Edition popping up?
Because
You're
he's playing it.
hallucinating. You're just hallucinating.
you're hallucinating.
You're playing around them bones too much.
My God, today was a shit show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. So we're at that time of the year where everything gets really busy, and for anyone out here who's listening and thinking about getting into management, there's something you should know. If you are understaffed and you really need to hire more people, and you need the people that you have with you to be really productive and working really hard, maybe, just maybe, don't slash their bonuses. Because when you do that, no one wants to actually go and sign up. And all of a sudden,
me about this on Tuesday.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, when you're not paying people for going above and beyond and really giving that extra 110%, then why would they ever give that to you?
Yep.
Yeah. Remember, kids, what gets rewarded gets done. So if you don't reward your people for excellence, they're not going to be very excellent.
I mean, even summer jobs get end of season bonuses so that you stay there for the whole season.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well,
well, I give everybody that works under me like $100 to $200 bonuses around Christmas, and that's just me personally giving them a bonus, just because it keeps them happy.
What goes on with us is that the productivity bonus isn't gone yet, but there used to be like 3 or 4 different kinds of bonuses we could get. And in the specific okay, you know what? Fuck it. Doxing myself. I work at a rental car place. I clean the cars. There's a lot of different people who work at a rental car place. Like there's the people who move the cars. There's the people who rent the cars to people. There's the people who are managing everyone else. The people on the sales end of things get a bonus for how much sales they do in different categories and all that stuff.
On commission.
Not exactly commission. It's just like if you hit this threshold, you get a bonus.
Right.
Then the people who are like the drivers and the greeters and all those people, they get a bonus based on customer satisfaction. Those of us on the back end of things get a bonus for productivity. Used to be that we got a bonus for productivity, so how many cars can we knock out in an hour, and we got a bonus for closing clean. So if we ended the night and there was nothing in the lot, we'd done everything, then we'd get a bonus. That's gone now. So now pretty much every day there's shit left in the lot, and the people the next morning have to deal with that. So that just piles up over and over and over again. They keep pulling me in on days that they shouldn't. So long story short, Friday, I did a 10-hour shift. Saturday, which I'm not scheduled on Saturday. They had me. That's one of my days off. They had me come in for another 6-hour shift for closing. And then today, I was supposed to be there at 7 in the morning for another 10-hour shift.
Yeah, but you're getting OT for this, right?
Nope. I don't get overtime. Nope.
That's fucked.
Yeah, because I'm quote unquote part time for this. So even if I were to work 40 hours a week, they don't give me overtime.
40 hours a week.
Your ass needs a new job. That's what
I know. But if I were to work 60, I wouldn't get overtime. If I were to work 80, I wouldn't get overtime.
Oh, that's right. You probably have similar laws to Washington State, where if you're if you're counted as a part-time employee, you are not eligible for overtime, right?
Yeah, exactly. But fortunately, they can't actually make me come in for more than that. So like if they call, like if for this upcoming week, if they're like on Tuesday, like, hey, you should come in, we need you, I'm gonna be like, oh, I'm already working more than enough to get you guys fined right now, so no.
Isn't it if you work more than 32 hours a week for a certain amount of, I don't know about your state laws, but where I'm at, if you work over 32 hours a week for a certain amount of weeks, they're legally obligated to make you full-time?
No. With the way it is here, they don't necessarily have to make you full-time, but they do get fined if they're making you work more than your station would require.
Okay.
So ideally, like it would technically be like you'd think that it would be cheaper for them to just make certain people full-time and just go with that, except then you have to give everybody benefits. So It ends up being cheaper for them to keep everybody part-time, and when it gets busy, bite the bullet, pay the fine, bring everybody in for extra hours, and say like, "Hey guys, do you want more money on your paycheck?" And then it works.
Not only that,
so what you're saying is hashtag waffle for governor of the state that you live in that I'm not going to say because I don't want to dox you.
It's New Mexico. Our governor was Gary Johnson for a while. He did a really good job.
But
I didn't vote for him.
There is one other thing that that kind of goes into play on that sort of shit, and it's something that I remember from back when I was doing management for a convenience store back in my parents' hometown. Apparently, there is still on the books in Obama era was a tax incentive for having X number of employees in employ. So it's better to have a bunch of part timers where you can slash benefits, have surplus labor, and you have a little bit extra to put in your pocket at the end of the year because, hey, tax incentive.
Yeah, that's part of it. Actually, speaking of unemployment, I don't know if any of you guys watch Freedom Tunes, but some of the stuff's pretty damn good. I had a thing about unemployment, which is basically once somebody gives up on looking for a job, they're not counted as unemployed by the census anymore. So the unemployment's down does not mean that more people have jobs. It might just mean that many more people have given up hope.
We've got the same bullshit.
That one's in my top 10 of favorite Freedom Tunes episodes.
I mean, we've got the same bullshit over here. They'll literally, like, redefine an entire category of individual sort of thing and go, look, unemployment's down. And it's not.
Yeah. Well, it's the same deal. It's like, look, poverty's down. It's like, yeah, because you dropped the poverty line to, like, $8,000 a year income or something like that. You know? I mean, granted, in my state, cost of living's really low. I can live on, like, $11,000 a year. Pretty easily, actually. But it's... I don't like it when people do that.
Yeah, you live in a pretty uniform state. Like
I live in a dirt poor state is what I live in.
Well, no, but like your state economics is pretty uniform. Whereas like my state on each side of the mountains, cost of living are totally different things. For example, when I lived in Spokane, I had a 750 square foot apartment. It was 2 bedrooms. We had our own separate garage. We had access to washer and dryer for us. And all that. I paid $750 a month for that.
Damn, you alone, or you and your roommate?
I had a roommate.
So were you? So 750 was your half then, or was that total cost?
No, 750 total for the entire apartment.
Nice.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty decent price.
That's how.
No, that's very decent.
You're paying about $1 per square foot. You're paying about $1 per square foot in Spokane.
Dude,
for apartments.
I living there right now. Where I am,
and
that size. For that size, it costs about like $15 to $2,000.
Yep.
Yeah, that's also when I was selling all the marijuanas, and you guys have heard about that before.
Yeah.
We're not gonna
And
get
speaking of apartments, I just got a really good deal on one.
A lot of fun shit there. How now I am in I'm in a pretty small studio apartment, and I'm paying $950 right now here in Seattle.
Yeah, and well, that's what generally happens when you move into a city. It's actually a little backwards in New Mexico, in that a lot of the towns are actually a little bit more expensive to live in. So for example, up near Taos, so any of you who are skiers should recognize the name. But up there, it can be pretty expensive to live in, if only because just there's no room, or what there is available for rent costs money because it's a tourist town. Whereas
that's supply and demand type thing, isn't it?
Well, also because it's a tourist town, and there used to be 6-figure salary people coming up from Texas just in the winter. So since that space is reserved for the winter, you can't get it all year round, right? So you have stuff like that.
We've got a lot of that here because it's basically a summer town sort of thing that it functions like a well-oiled machine between May and September. But October through to March sort of thing, fucking place is ghost town.
Yeah, as for as for places like Santa Fe, capital city of the state, is really expensive.
Of course, that's Santa Fe. I'm not surprised about that.
Well, exactly. So the state economics in New Mexico aren't really uniform. It's just that half of the population of the entire state lives in one city. Which is Albuquerque. Albuquerque is dirt poor.
I have a question for you, Waffle.
Yeah.
What is Aleppo?
Aleppo. I don't know. Is that an acronym, or I'm sorry. I just don't have it.
It's a Gary Johnson joke.
No, I know. I'm giving his answer.
Just double checking.
No, I know. Checking. Aleppo's a city in West Syria, right? Or is it Libya?
Syria.
Syria. Okay. The tensions were breaking out in both of them at around the same time, so gee, which city are we carpet bombing right now? I don't fucking know.
Yeah, we've already talked about. Let's not get back into that.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm looking at apartments. I just went ahead and looked up apartments in Santa Fe, and yeah, they ain't cheap. They ain't cheap at all.
Waffle, now that you're here, I know exactly what we need to talk about.
I'm worried.
It's time to talk about metaphysics, guys.
Oh no! I mean, you want to actually do this?
No, I don't. No, I don't want to actually do that. I want to make it kind of a rule that we don't talk about metaphysics on this. On this
channel. We can have a meta discussion about metaphysics.
You can bring Strigo online if you want.
No. We can have a meta discussion about metaphysics and why I fucking hate it.
We spent enough time making fun of Matthew.
I don't need to make fun of Matthew. It's just like whenever a conversation of metaphysics breaks out, unless it's two people who know metaphysics and actually want to talk about metaphysics, it goes one of three ways. The first one is you have two people who have no idea what they're talking about, but they think they know what they're talking about, and they go like, yeah, man, like with the crystals and the resonance of everything, and indigo children have 12-strand crystal DNA instead of carbon DNA that we have. And like say this all. I'm not fucking kidding. I heard someone say this. One of my best friends in high school, his dad spouted this shit all the time. I repeated what he said to me almost verbatim just now. Like, so I'm not exaggerating. You know, so
if it wasn't for that horse, I wouldn't have spent that year in college.
Waffle. Waffle, we are going to discuss metaphysics.
Oh no, I would love to, but that is one way that it goes. Is you have two people who know nothing about it and think they know something about it, and you get some really stupid bullshit. On the other hand, you have two people who. Let me put it this way: you could have one person who knows what they're talking about and another one who doesn't. And you end up with this really frustrating thing. It's like the Louis C.K. bit about like the 2-year-old asking why, and you don't want to go down that rabbit hole because eventually you just get into like, well, some things are and some things are not. Why? Because if things were, then things would not be.
Exactly.
That sort of thing. Why? I don't fucking know, right?
This is how you raise your child to be a philosopher. You don't discourage those questions.
No, you take that child out to a pond and drown him.
No, you can always bring the child. You can always bring the child around to one of us who is trained in philosophy.
Oh no, I'm not talking about bringing a child around. I'm talking about when this happens with a 30-year-old.
He's talking about bringing Jables around.
Yeah, I can't remember how old Jables is.
Yeah, well, we're going to work on Jables too.
And then the last one.
Global warming to rear
No, I was.
We can talk about global warming.
We actually did try to talk about it. I was kind of being an asshole. Yeah. So that's not bad.
But yeah, and then the last thing that happens is that you have two people who actually do know what they're talking about, and then sometimes that goes well. Sometimes it ends exceptionally poorly with two people having completely different ideas about which thing makes sense. And oh god, it gets stupid. Street was an example of this.
There's also many definitions as well, sort of thing, because, like, depending on which way you take it, you can either take it as meta and you go with the root, which means all, sort of thing, or some people take meta as in pseudo, sort of thing, or some people actually take it as an actual meta science, sort of thing. So, it depends on where you're coming from.
It does. It really does.
I come from the dictionary definition that said it's beyond physics.
Yeah, but that's not right. Here's why that's not right. As I tried to explain to you when we were talking about this in voice chat, Jables, the thing about metaphysics, the origin of the term is from a book by Aristotle. And it was the book that came after his book called Physica, which means physics. So he called the next book Meta ta Physica, which means after physics or beyond physics. It was just the next book after the book called Physics. It's not some kind of special mystical supernatural bullshit, because materialism is also a particular metaphysic.
Exactly.
I don't think it is. I just like being an asshole sometimes.
Well, we're gonna break you of that habit. We are.
No, materialism is absolutely
because I do that sometimes. Strickland was around last night when I just started fucking berating a guy for no reason whatsoever.
Oh yeah, no, he did.
Yeah, he did. Some people literally believe that metaphysics sort of thing is basically like based on all sort of thing, as in common, as in like known, ubiquitous. Everybody knows this. Like the sun comes up in the morning would be considered a metaphysic because everybody knows the sun comes up in the morning.
Right, and I would say that's in that case I'd say that basically they're wrong, that they have an idea.
Because the sun doesn't do shit perpendicular to us because we roll into it and roll out of it, but it would still be the knowledge of that's what happens because that's what everybody knows.
Right, and I can see where someone would get to that definition, but I think that taking it that direction is probably a bit of a mistake on the part,
I know, but I'm just saying of the different definitions that people take.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely one of them.
Metaphysics.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely one of them. The way I tend to view it is it's like any given field, right? Like if you're like let me put it this way: if you were to walk into a thing and say like 2 + 2 = 5, regardless of whether or not that's true, that's a mathematical statement, right? Mm-hmm. If you were to say that you cannot count to 100 like you just can't do it. It can't be done. That's a mathematical statement, true or false, because it's regarding mathematics. So the statement, metaphysics is bullshit and doesn't exist, is a metaphysical statement because you're making a statement regarding, the field in that sense, right? It's the same way saying God doesn't exist. Well, I know. I'm onto the next thing. It's the same way like saying God doesn't exist is fundamentally a theological question because it's regarding whether, like one of the biggest questions of theology, which is does God exist? And there are branches of thought that immediately go down that go with the assumption that yes, a God exists, and there are branches of thought that go down the road where they assume that no, a God does not exist. But it's still all ultimately theology, right?
What if I were to make a statement that I have no reason to believe that a God exists?
I don't know.
Where does that land within your little?
That's a perceptual statement. That's a description of your mind state.
Statement say like over the last 400 years of the science explosion of our species, sort of thing, nothing has been found to be preter or supernatural. Ergo, I believe there is no supernatural deity, sort of thing, because it hasn't been discovered to be natural. Ergo, doesn't exist.
Yeah,
that's messy language that you're using there, Leslie.
Hold on a sec, Squigs. No, it's a statement of your own opinion or your own belief is not entirely, but is internal to you. Like that's not a statement regarding the state of the field or the state of the art, right? So telling me that you like a certain car or that you will or will not buy a certain car says nothing regarding the development of transportation technology. That's about your interfacing with it, right? So your interfacing with the field, vastly speaking, of theology is to basically lean in this direction of the empiricist route and the skeptical route and say, I have no reason to believe in a God. But that's not, like, that's a statement of your opinion and your belief structure, but not necessarily, it's fundamentally a theological statement, but not one that pertains to anything but you.
I would say it's more an epistemological statement because it deals with justification of what, when we talk about epistemology, which is one of the branches of philosophy, we're talking about what is knowledge. And this is the one thing upon which and I hesitate to say this because I haven't read everybody, but in my studies and in my experience, every philosopher agrees on this particular question. Which is quite astounding because we don't agree on anything else at all. But the answer is knowledge is justified true belief. Now, what that means is when a subject S knows a proposition P, there are three conditions which must be met. Number one, S believes P. Number two, P is true. And number three, S is justified in believing P. This is where all the agreement ends because now we're going to argue about what is truth and what constitutes justification for belief in any given proposition. So when you come up with this, I haven't seen any evidence, you're taking the empirical view. Empiricism is a school of thought in epistemology, and they say, experience is the justification for belief in a proposition, which they mean sense perception, by which they mean the empirical method of observation and experimentation. So if you don't have physical evidence for something, then you don't have justification for belief, according to a pure empiricist.
Well, Livy, if you go off of what Leslie said, absolutely, yes. But if you were to go off of Jables' first statement, which is, I have no reason to believe in a God, that isn't necessarily going into specifically, empiricism and all that. It is an epistemologic statement to a degree, but I would argue that it's an epistemologic statement regarding that theology, because it can be both, right? Like I can make an epistemologic statement about paleontology and a statement about paleontology within one statement because it pertains to both of these things. But what I'm trying to clarify, at least, and you and I are in complete agreement, I think. But what I'm trying to clarify, at least in general, for listeners and participants here, is that the statement of, let's say, for example, God exists or God does not exist is a theological statement, regardless of if it's positive or negative. The statement of 2 + 2 = 5 or 2 + 2 does not equal 5 is a mathematical statement, regardless of whether or not it's correct.
Yeah.
Likewise, the statement of there is nothing outside the physical and only the material matters, versus there are things that are real that are not physical or not material, is a fundamentally metaphysical statement either way you do it, because it's regarding the rules outside the rules, shall we say. You know?
Yeah, my statement basically didn't involve the just God sort of thing. I was basically saying that the supernatural is non-existent on the basis that nothing has been proven to be that ever. Right,
and yours was would get into the epistemology thing with that basically the combination of empiricism and skepticism, which is having been given no evidence, why should I believe?
Exactly.
Yeah, and to which the answer would be, well, you shouldn't. You know, or at least I'm guessing that's where you come to with it. Other people obviously come to a very different place with it.
Well, yeah, I mean, the thing of it is, I mean, I tend to believe what I believe because I try and find out and learn the facts of what I believe. Whereas, like, believing anything based on faith and assumptions is to me a little retarded. But I mean, I know a lot of people put a lot of weight in it, and you know, if that's your jam, you go nuts. Mm-hmm. But I'm still going to call you slightly retarded for it, though.
I want to jump in here and clarify something. I know that it's very popular in Western Christianity, especially, for the word faith to be explained as belief in something without any evidence, or, you know, uncritical acceptance of some dogma. But that is not what the Greek word actually means. Pistis is the Greek word that we have in the Greek New Testament. The language the New Testament was originally written in was Koine Greek. And pistis means not belief in a proposition. It's not a rational thing. It's not irrational. It's rational. It's relational. It's about placing your trust in a person. You see, in Greek, and we used to have this in English too, two different words for what we now just use the word know or knowledge for. You still have it in German. They had it in Greek. The idea was gignosko. I know you personally, intimately. I know you, okay? Or gnosis, that kind of knowledge, gnosis. Okay, then you have episteme, which is the knowledge of a proposition, which is, you know, I know this thing to be true because I have experienced it or I've seen it or whatever. So we have two different things going on here. We have credo, which is I believe, and we have fideo, which is I trust, or I believe you to be trustworthy. I put my trust in you. You are faithful.
Right. It's the difference between I have no evidence for this but I believe it anyway, and the evidence I have is that you say it's true and I trust you, and that's good enough for me. Because in one of these cases you do actually have evidence, but what matters is whether or not you trust that evidence and whether or not it actually supports it, which if you trust the person saying it, for example, then it is good enough for you. Right? And that would be taking it on faith, for example.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff there. By the way, Livy, I find it really funny that you say like that philosophers don't agree on anything. I'm like, Heidegger doesn't even agree with himself.
Right. I mean, hey, you've got Wittgenstein in two different phases, early Wittgenstein and then later Wittgenstein, and later Wittgenstein looks back on his earlier work and says it's all shit. You know?
Yep. And actually, oh man, it actually disappointed me a little bit when Striegel put up the whole like philosophy, or someone put up the, I think, who was that? It was like Nightwing or someone put up the philosophy is a non-productive field. Changed my mind, and Striegel just proceeded to like completely fail at arguing it.
It's like that was entertaining to watch.
Oh, thoroughly. But I would point out like a couple things. Here's all I have to say about whether or not philosophy is a productive field or not. Anytime you're breaking new ground in pretty much any field, theoretically at least, physics, mathematics, computer science, wherever, you start leaning on philosophy, because when you're building out new stuff, you kind of have to go back to those fundamental building blocks of logic and knowledge and such.
Well, logic is part of philosophy.
It is, absolutely.
The empirical method itself is inductive logic, and that comes out of philosophy. Right.
And well, that was actually the second thing. So the first thing is whenever you're breaking new ground in a field, you have to lean very heavily on philosophy. Second, to understand what the hell you're doing in just about any field, you have to have a basic understanding of philosophy. Not everything, but anytime I hear people going around talking about like, oh, logic, rationality, blah, 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 skepticism, those are all philosophical terms that mean pretty specific things, and I see people throwing a lot of them around wrong. If you want to know how to think and how to think about how you think, you have to actually go into philosophy and learn some of it. Third,
and that was going to be our discussion for tonight. It
was, yeah. And third, here's the really, really funny one to me. Before the field of computer science was like really established and everything, when tech firms were really just kind of starting up, who do you think they hired? And a lot of people answer mathematicians because computer science degrees didn't exist yet, right? They didn't hire mathematicians. They hired philosophers because philosophers were really, like, people with philosophy degrees and training were really good at taking an idea like, I want this to happen, and breaking it down into a structure of yes or no questions. So the idea of building up machine code, binary, into computer languages, into, like Boolean operators and all that stuff, the whole not, or, nor, XOR, all that stuff, that all came from not just philosophy, but actually people trained in philosophy. So we built the entire field of computer science and information sciences on the backbone of philosophy, and that's a recent example.
I didn't even know that. Computer languages are all based on symbolic logic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh man, symbolic logic's another fun one. You ever want to like put yourself in for some pain because it's not good standard like symbolic logic? Or symbolic logic notation, go read Bertrand Russell's, oh god, what was the title of it? It's the one where he's trying to logically justify all of arithmetic. before he realized that Kurt Gödel proved that that's impossible. I'll have to pull up the title of that, but it has a consistent logic, like it has a consistent notation to it. It's just not the right symbolic logic notations the whole time. Like for the first several chapters, you're like, wait, what does that symbol mean? What are you doing, Russell? But it's really funny. It's like 270 pages in is when he finally proves that 1 + 1 = 2. Because that like, to give you an idea of how logically complex arithmetic and mathematics is as a system, if you really want to rigorously prove arithmetic, that the proof for 1 + 1 = 2 can either be like 7 lines long or 270 pages. Depending on what kind of rigor you want to use for it and how you want to define it.
Yeah, but aren't you can then take it to like pedantic levels though?
Well, what he's trying to do is basically show that all of mathematics rests on a logical foundation, or like an axiomatic foundation, where you could basically say these are the axioms of mathematics, and from these axioms follows the entirety of mathematics. Turns out you can't actually do that. There's a thing called Gödel's incompleteness theorems, or two things rather, and what they boil down to, and I am butchering this, Livy, I'm sorry, is there are basically within any logical system complex enough to have arithmetic, there are going to be things that are true that you can't prove are true, and there are going to be things that you don't know and just can't prove. Like there's just it's basically there are things that there are going to be things that you cannot prove true or false, and there are going to be things that are true that you will never be able to show are true just from the axioms. So this statement of the theorems basically boils down to any sufficiently complex logical system, which does not have to actually be very complex, is fundamentally incomplete in that it cannot prove everything inside of it with just its own internal axioms. You need to go from outside for that. And, oh, hey, if you were to apply that to the physics of the universe, it's almost like metaphysics, like the rules behind the rules, might be a worthy field of study.
But the thing is, though, I mean,
I actually hate
not a big leap.
Before you say that, or like before you go into that, I just want to say I actually kind of hate it when people bring Gödel's incompleteness theorems into physics. It's just like, no, stop. Those don't belong here.
So you just did your own bitch move.
Oh no, I did mostly just to kind of jab at Jables again, but but yeah, it's I don't know. Gödel's an interesting one.
It's Gödel.
Yeah, I know, but I'm gonna. I will pick and choose which German I pronounce correctly.
Just don't tell Feldy.
Because I don't want to say Kant the way we're supposed to pronounce Kant.
By the way, girl. And Rimshi has a really good question.
Okay.
How does metaphysics apply to hot dogs?
Oh shit!
All right, I am going to go ahead and pull this up. I don't know. I need to find this. My girlfriend sent this to me a little while ago. There is an alignment chart about sandwich structure. And that this is how
not that again.
applies.
Not that again.
No. If you think a hot dog is a sandwich,
Hot dogs are a sandwich, and don't bring it up again. This is like the Jaegers. We're not bringing up
the third one. No, it's very simple.
I do have about 10 minutes.
Hey,
I
do have an answer.
Hold on.
I do have an answer for Rimshi. Rimshi. You ain't getting no hot dogs.
No. But yeah.
No hot dogs for you.
You see, Rimshi, if you think a hot dog is a sandwich, then you are a true neutral on this alignment chart because you are structure neutral in the sense that the container must be on either side of the toppings, but not necessarily two separate pieces. And you're also ingredient neutral in that they can contain a broader scope of savory ingredients.
Where do tacos fall in there?
Well, if you were saying that a taco is a sandwich, I would argue that you'd...
Isn't it just a flatbread sandwich?
I would say that you would be a structure rebel in that case because a structure rebel says it can contain any food enveloped in any way by a containing food. So yeah, in that case, you'd be a structure rebel.
Pasty's a sandwich, though, would you? Because it's a fucking pasty.
Oh, a pasty? Sorry.
Yeah.
Explain.
No, a pasty is not a sandwich because a pasty is cooked dough around a filling of some form, typically meat and turnip.
Well, actually,
technically speaking,
no, technically speaking, if that were the case, you might actually.
Here's my logic. Would you call a Hot Pocket a sandwich?
No. Well, if you call Hot Pocket if you call a Pop-Tart a sandwich, then you are a radical sandwich anarchist. You are a structure rebel and an ingredient rebel.
I would have gone with moron, but sure.
Wait, it is a ravioli. No.
Ravioli. Give me the death of deservioli.
No. If ravioli is a sandwich, if you reside thoroughly in that lower right low right cell of radical sandwich anarchy, in which case nothing matters and everything's a sandwich. Personally, I'm a little more of a structure purist.
Wait, but Waffle, what if they get a Pop-Tart and make an ice cream sandwich out of it? Would that still be radical sandwich anarchy?
That would, well, if you take two Pop-Tarts on either side, that would actually make you something of a structure purist and an ingredient rebel, which is that's described as ice cream between waffles as a sandwich.
What about Calzone?
Are raviolis dinner Pop-Tarts?
Ravioli for sandwich Pop-Tarts. There we go. Boom. That's it. But no, hot dog is not a sandwich. Fuck you. You're wrong.
It's cereal soup.
You're bad, and you should feel bad.
Hot dog is not a sandwich. It's not a sandwich.
Yeah, because a hot dog bun is, it clues in the name, bun.
It's one piece of bread. It's one piece of bread, so it's not a sandwich.
So it's more of a taco.
But our hamburger
hot dog's not a taco.
A hamburger might be a sandwich. That depends on whether or not you're an ingredient purist or not.
Okay, well, I'm just saying because Maxwell was talking about it's in the name bun, but there's hamburger buns.
If you're ingredient neutral, then a hamburger is absolutely a sandwich.
Yeah, but dude, the burger's not a sandwich, it's a fucking burger.
In which case, I would argue that you are an ingredient purist.
Wait.
Okay, another similar thing here. Maito asks a good question in the chat. Is cereal a soup?
Yeah, that's what I was asking too.
What? No, it's not.
No, it's not.
Why not?
Bad.
So I think because soup is generally, cooked.
What about the cold soup?
Yeah, there's
that logic, that makes
gazpacho still a soup.
Oatmeal's not a soup. It doesn't have a broth.
But okay, yeah, that was going. That's my argument for cereal not being soup is that it has. It doesn't have a broth. I mean, that's why cereal is not soup. Broth is required for soup.
Okay, then cereal with milk.
But then there's vegetable soups that don't necessarily have.
Did
like,
you know that
at least
vegetable broth is a thing?
It is, but isn't?
I mean, like,
milk,
I guess
isn't milk?
I guess we call cereal a cold stew or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, think of it. I mean, technically, porridge is a cereal, and you're not going to call that a soup, are you? You'd call that a hot pot quicker than a soup.
Yeah, well, I'd call it a porridge. I'd say it's its own thing. Like, I'd call oatmeal porridge, kind of.
Yeah.
I could agree
Milk
with that.
is not a broth, mitochondria. Okay.
Well, it depends on how you wish to define broth.
Are you sure milk is not titty broth?
See?
Yes, titty broth. Makes perfect sense.
I think it's outro time. I think it's outro time.
Are you sure it's outro time? I mean, this could just get worse. I mean, I could just say whatever. Like, what are you going to do? Put me in worse jail?
Yeah.
Like, I actually really want Dank to do that, to, like, call people from prison. If he gets in prison. I don't remember what the sentencing is. Oh, it hasn't happened yet. But if he goes to prison, I want him to, like, call people from there, be on live streams from prison, and just, like, say shit. Be like, what are they going to do? Throw me in worse prison?
Well, a lot of prisons still allow internet access, so I'm sure he could hop on a live stream. Unless part of his sentence is
that'd be really funny.
Keeping him off the net.
Yeah,
it would be really funny.
That's the only thing I'm concerned about.
Yeah, but wouldn't it be really funny if they got him like he's like in prison, they're like videotaping, and he's like, so I decided to turn all my inmates into the cutest thing ever, but I didn't have a pug, so I taught them how to Nazi salute. Just go the other way.
Watching with bated breath on the 23rd, all sort of thing, and basically, should it come down to an actual custodial, then it's like all hands on deck. Every Discord, every social media, man, just fucking spam that shit sort of thing, because we're going to fund it so that it goes all the way to basically Crown High Court, so that this shit can be actually dealt with properly and negated properly.
I'm just going to say now, don't pull Guy Fawkes for several reasons. First off, advocating for violence is a terrible thing. Second off, Guy Fawkes failed.
Yeah. No, I'm not advocating for violence. I'm advocating for getting Kickstarters out there, getting funding for so that it can be taken to the Crown High Court and get this shit dealt with a proper judge and dealt with properly.
Agreed. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he definitely should file for appeals. I don't know if he's done that yet or not. He hasn't been live streaming and talking about it very much.
Can he appeal before they sentence?
No,
right.
So they have to be sentenced so that then he appeals the sentence.
Right.
Yeah,
so we gotta wait for that to happen.
He hasn't been open about whether or not he's going to appeal yet.
But I mean, for president, I hope he does.
Tune in 2 weeks from now where we talk about the sentencing, by the way.
Not 2 weeks, 7 days.
Yeah, but that's going to happen. Like that's going to happen after Monday after the next show. So 7 days from now.
Right.
Yeah, so we're gonna be on a week lag. We'll have plenty of time to think about it and acquire lots of booze so I can get angry again.
Okay, maybe we'll do it on maybe we'll do a midweek on like a Tuesday.
Yep.
Yeah, you guys need to you guys gotta start keeping up with us on the after show. We're doing 2 shows a week. Y'all just
all right. So Gator, let me ask you a question here.
We're talking about that.
What's up?
Do you have flexible hours? Are you self-employed? Can you stream, like make time to stream pretty much whenever and just block out that time and have that time to do that? Because I can't. Actually, Thursday would be great for me. I'd be fine to do it on Thursday. It's just Jables works.
Well, I can be your host, Waffle.
Oh, no. I mean,
Swing show.
Actually.
This is.
Yeah, I vote for this. I definitely vote for this. I would love to see that shit.
The squig.
Can we
unleash
just,
the squig?
No. Hold on.
Hashtag make it happen.
Hold on.
Wiggles and I have a lot of really disturbing commonalities and experience. That could get really weird really fast.
Yeah.
Hold on. If we're giving Squigs a show, just give them Squigs and Griggs.
See, I was thinking like Squigs, just try to pull off the Eric Andre show and see what happens.
Exactly.
That's why it's Squigs and Griggs.
Griggs is the Eric Andre show.
All we're gonna do is just screw around and just basically
You know what?
get off our
could
damn
probably-
lawn.
We could probably get that for we could probably get Jeff to do something like that though. Is like build up enough of a studio thing where you could do some weird ass like Eric Andre-ish things. Oh my god, that would be amazing.
Oh
No,
god.
talk to my dog about that.
Guys, 15 minutes.
Oh.
All right, let's run. I'm not running things, so I could just leave. Good night, everybody. See you next time. Bye.
Okay.
All right,
Sorry about that.
guys. It's the end. I'm going to do the outro, but it's the end.
Wait. Can we just shill first?
the
'Cause
end.
I'm gonna shill out
Oh
for.
yeah. Show it.
Okay.
Friend.
I am shilling out for Calligator at Twitch/Calligator in order to watch the Kingdom of Discordia at every Thursday and Sunday night, as well as his D&D stream he has does every Saturday at 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, where you can see me, Feldy, Nightwing, Gator, Dapper, and Maxwell. Sorry about that, Maxwell. Yes, you can see all of us do an amazing campaign.
All right.
You're welcome. Where's my shell money?
Like you need to that.
Hey, you
and
got
also,
to be
if you like fun and trying to get Calligator kicked off of
No.
Sorry.
Don't even play, you bitch.
Yeah. I've already attempted to do that once. All right. Anybody else have anything to show?
No, I'm good at that.
No, I'm good.
All right. And
one thing that I do want to show. One thing I want to do show. Go ahead and check out that represent.us thing. The talking about getting corruption illegalized in the United States. So if you're here in the US and you want to make a difference, fucking go check these guys out. I've given the link to our boys here. Those of you watching who don't have the link to the Discord, where I have posted it also in cross promote. I guess you guys are going to put it in the description or something like that.
I can actually link it into the here.
If you're not in the US sort of thing, watch it anyway and take your fucking cues from it.
Yes, exactly. So this is more than high time for people to wake up and start getting active. So
because there's nothing more powerful than conversations about an issue.
Yes, very much so. Shine that sunlight is the best disinfectant on this kind of bullshit.
Agreed.
Yep. All right, anybody else?
I'm good.
I'm good.
I think we're good.
All right. See us in Germany next year. Oh
god, that show's gonna be interesting.
All right.
Yep.
Yeah, if I can do a show from there, I will. So with that, we've been your Lesser Saints of Discord. We love you all. We are streaming every Sunday night before your favorite YouTube Saints. So be sure to tune in around 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. The rest of you can do your math for your own fucking time zones because I don't care that much about you. Have a good night, everybody.
Later.
Good night.
Night.